Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. I recently had a pretty cool experience with manifestation that I want to talk to you about today. Now, as you know, my videos are unscripted, so we're going to do like a stream of consciousness thoughts about everything that just happened to me with the manifestation of my trailer. So I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I gave you a little tour of the camp that I manifested, a trailer with a bunkie and a yard, and a big deck. And stuff has been happening with that. Like, yes, I did manifest that camp. But over the couple of months that I've had it and been spending a lot of time there, I've realized just how much came together that, like, I just didn't put it all together at first, just what I had manifested and how perfectly it had manifested. Like, it's just like Abraham Hicks talks about, where every time you imagine something or visualize or ask for something, it goes into your vortex. Like, you get it right away and it's in your energetic vortex. And Cindy, my friend Cindy from Lady of the Forest 444, has also talked about and channeled about how when you first ask for it and visualize it and like create it, you create it in the energetic realm, and then it takes a while before it comes into the physical realm. And I didn't really know what that meant. And I have always been very intrigued with the whole vortex, because like I want into my vortex. Like, I've put a lot of stuff in the vortex. So like hanging out in there would probably be my paradise. But what happened as I've been hanging out at camp is like that I'm looking around at the things that are there and going like, oh my goodness, like I asked for that and I asked for that. Oh, and I asked for that too. And then also everything that I've needed, like since I've bought it, like things that I've needed, like from a dish drain rack to new bed, sheets and stuff, and like just different things that I've needed. Lattice for under the trailer to stop Lola, my dog, from going under the trailer, and a new type of fire pit. Everything that I've wanted and asked for since I got the trailer has just like materialized in front of me. Help, like people to help me do stuff that I don't know how to do at the trailer, has just materialized as soon as I asked for it. But the thing you were asking when I posted that video showing you the tour of the trailer, you asked in the comments, like, you wanted to hear the story of how I did it. And I mentioned that I would tell you that story. So, okay, so what did I do? Over years, like we're talking, I don't want to make you, I don't want to make you feel like everything you want to manifest is going to take a long time, but don't forget that I've been on the spiritual path for about 30 years. So for like 20 years is how long I've been asking or visualizing for some of it. I have been asking and looking at properties that are like it's a camp or a cottage. Here in Northern Ontario, we call it a camp, but in most places you would call it like a cottage or a summer home or things like that. I used to go boating with my ex-husband, and I would get him to take me around the perimeter of any lake. He knew we needed to go do the perimeter so I could check out all the camps on the lake. And I was always looking for ones that were like a compound for the family. Like, there were just separate buildings. I don't mean that it's fenced in or anything. Just, I love my daughters, but I also love my space. So I wanted something that had bunkies. And I used to love these. I had some favorite properties on some favorite lakes of ours that we would drive by. And as I would look at them, I'd be like, I want something like that. And it would be like a bunch of little cabins on one property, so that there was room for my girls to my daughters to like have their families in a separate abode than I lived in when they came to visit me at my, waterfront property. So there's that. I asked for a place with multiple living facilities. And then I also used to ask for it to be waterfront, and I always wanted a nice beach. I would always, whenever I would visualize my waterfront property, I would make sure that it had a nice beach and a nice entry to the water for my grandkids and just for fun, just for, because a sandy bottom is a lot nicer in a lake than a muddy, gooky bottom or a bottom that drops off right away. I just wanted a nice gradual entry and sand. So that. I live in an apartment. Well, ever since 2020, I've lived in an apartment. And I love my apartment. It's great. And I've got a really nice, I've talked to you about my magic balcony. I've got this nice big 20 by 5 balcony, but I don't have a yard. And you can't have like a campfire on a balcony. So I have been asking for 5 years, because I had a yard before that. I've been asking for 5 years to have a place to have a fire. I just wanted to be able to have a campfire whenever I wanted to. In Northern, I don't know if it's like that everywhere. Like in Northern Ontario, we have campfires in our backyard, right? Just in a fire pit. And I wanted to be able to do that. And I would go camping, like tenting, at a provincial park to have a fire. But I wanted to be able to have a fire, without going and taking a tent and setting up my home and all that kind of thing. So fire pit and a garden. I used to visualize, because again, now I know you can do balcony gardening. I tried it. I didn't like it. Too many bugs. Anyway, I didn't like it. But I wanted to just have somehow still be able to have the apartment, but be able to have a garden where I could just get my hands in. Didn't have to be a great big garden. I just wanted to grow some stuff. And when I would visualize that, it would be a raised garden bed, or maybe several, but anyway, raised garden. And then sometimes I would also picture like a ground level flower garden, but a raised garden where I would have vegetables growing. There's more, but just to move the story along. In the last couple of weeks, I've been sitting at camp and realizing, oh my God, there's a fire pit. There's a bunkie. And there's only one bunkie, and I have 2 daughters. But in the trailer, there's a whole separate bedroom. It's like a bunkie. It's got a door. It's down the far end, way far away from my bedroom that's at the other end of the trailer, 32 feet away, right? Because it's the trailer. And my younger daughter, who's 25, stays in there, and she made it into her own. It's got 2 bunk beds and a storage unit. I'll show you a picture. And she made that into her place. And then my other daughter, who has the 3-year-old son, she stays in the bunkie when she comes, because there's more room for her and my grandson. And then the bunkie also, when I have friends there, my friends stay in the bunkie as well. So like I got my bunkie and I got my fire pit and I got the garden I was asking for. Like, I don't know if this sounds astounding to you, but the thing is that I thought none of this stuff had manifested. And like, it's been a lot of years and you think it's not coming because you get discouraged because some of it has been a lot of years. Some of it has only been 5, but you get discouraged because you think it's not coming, And then it turns out that this just like fell into place. This whole trailer thing wasn't like what I pictured all these years, that a manifestation, I don't know, like I want, like, it's like magic, poof, like with smoke and there's the thing that you manifested, and like, that's just not what it's been like. I think maybe when we get to the part where we have the Lemurian grid and we have higher energies and more gifts, we'll be able to maybe manifest like an apple in the palm of our hand. But right now, you ask for an apple, and then in this roundabout way that you're not expecting, and you don't even realize that all of a sudden, like, you're holding an apple. So that's how everything has been coming together with the trailer. Like, it's so cool. And so I'm making sure every time something dawns on me, like I was sitting at the fire. I'm going to try and splice some pictures in here while I'm talking, so I hope that's going to work. But I was sitting at the fire with Lola, and it just like, clicked. Oh yeah, I asked for a fire pit and I have a fire pit. And then I'm gardening. Like, I've got some tomatoes planted in this garden bed. There's a flat garden bed that was already there, but it was really overgrown and not looked after, and I fixed it up. And then there was also a raised garden box, and I fixed that up too and filled it. I had to do it really quick. So this year I just put some tomato plants and 1 strawberry plant in there and some flowers, but I can, fix it up next year and grow more plants, like actual rows of plants and stuff. But it's the garden box I asked for. Like, I didn't, when the trailer fell into place, like the camp, I didn't really see it as all the pieces I had been asking for. Okay, there's more. So I asked for, so like I said, I live in an apartment, and like over the 2020 time, 2021, there was just a lot coming through social media for me. Maybe it was the algorithm, or maybe they got more popular, about tiny homes. So I started like clicking on things and looking into tiny homes. Turns out there's lots of restrictions here in Ontario, but they've loosened them up a bit. But about having like these little tiny home communities, you know? But I got really intrigued with tiny homes because I thought, man, like I live a really simple life, or I want to live a really simple life now. And I could totally live in a tiny home. Like, and plus I have some physical problems that like, there's no way, there's no sense me manifesting a mansion because I wouldn't even be able to walk through the whole mansion. So, I was standing in the trailer the other day and looking, like I was looking from the kitchen into the washroom, and I thought like, oh my God, this is a tiny home. Okay, like I can only stay in it in the summer because I've got it in Northern Ontario. But this is a tiny home. This is what I asked for. So, like, it's just really interesting that what they did, though, was they, being like my guides or the universe or whatever, you know, when you're manifesting, the guidance is to say like or better or whatever, like to ask for things, but then kind of leave the universe some room to work it out as well. I used to do that as well. And some of this stuff has come together in ways that are better than me at this age, at this, like, just where I am in life and where I am physically, you know, like I said, suddenly manifesting some waterfront mansion property like that I've got to maintain, right? This way, I've got this little yard, but it's big enough, but it's not that big. But I've got access to the whole park, but I don't have to maintain it. I don't have to worry about building retaining walls because the waterfront is, you know what I mean, what did they say, receding or whatever. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. The owners of the park can worry about that. But I still have access to this beautiful beach and swimming area and a total sand bottom lake. Like the camp is called Sand Bay. So like it's amazing the way that it has panned out. And I just keep getting like jaw drop moments. So how did I do it? So how did I manifest it? Over years, I just kept turning my thoughts to positive, turning my thoughts to what I do want, and visualizing just in moments, just like, just, I don't know, I would have some thoughts about camping, how camping's really hard now. And then I would turn the thoughts instead of getting into how hard it is to live in a tent for my body now. I would change it to like visualizing a solution, visualizing myself at a fire pit at some kind of abode, you know, that I lived, that I had, and just trying to leave it open a bit. And then sometimes I would get into some detail because then I'd read some manifestation stuff that says like you got to use detail, you know, and sometimes I'd get over into detail or sometimes not. But really, no vision boards. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not a journaler. I'm not gonna get a big, I'm not even gonna do, because I know in the comments you're gonna tell me I'm not even gonna do an electronic vision board. Like I'm not gonna do that. I just do it in my mind. And it appears like, and I didn't think any of this was coming true. And so that's kind of what happened is then I turned 60 this year. And when I turned 60, I kind of got, you know, birthdays lead to some reflection. And I kind of started thinking about like, I'm not old, but like, but yes, I am, you know, like I kind of thought I only have about 20, like good, really productive, really vibrant years left. Like it could be a little more, a little less, but it just crossed my mind. And it was like, I went into what a younger friend of mine referred to as YOLO, that it, you know, you only live once, like that anything that I want to do or buy or be or have, I better get working on it. So I just, that's what 60 did. I didn't go into a depression about getting older. I think I went into YOLO and that I better do whatever I wanted to do, all the things I want to do. And so then like things just sort of moved along, that I think I clicked on one trailer, like a camp, trailer with bunkie in that, or trailer with a lot anyway, on Facebook Marketplace. And of course, then they all start popping up, right? And it didn't take very long before the one that I now own popped up in front of me. And I just, looked at it a little longer. And I knew the lake because I had stayed on it before. There's a lodge on that lake. And I was like, I even really like that lake. So I'm in YOLO, and this trailer and lot and bunkie comes up, and there's like a bunkie. And I just thought, okay, you know what? Like I think I've mentioned before, like my marriage broke up in 2020. I had to completely start over financially just for reasons. And so I didn't know if I qualified for any kind of a loan, but I've done well since, like, I've paid off all my debt in the 5 years since then. I've worked really hard to build my credit wasn't bad, but to build my credit and get rid of my debt, except my car loan, because everybody has a car loan. And I had myself at zero debt. So that's going to come into play in a second. And I just thought, I can't just write stuff off anymore without asking. So I'm going to just ask the bank, how much can I borrow? So I go to the bank and I ask them, just like, how much can you lend me? Like, on an unsecured loan, how much do I qualify for? And what would the payments be? And what would the interest rate be? Because what's been going on with interest rates the last 5 years. Like, I just was like, okay, if it's some skyrocket high interest rate, I'm not going to borrow something at a stupid interest rate. So I just went to get all the information, and they give me a number, and the interest rate was like, okay, it wasn't like the interest rates of when I was younger, but it was okay. It was reasonable for these days. It wasn't crazy. And she said it was because I had built my credit. I had good credit rating. And she gives me a number of what the maximum is I'm going to be able to borrow. And I look, and like, the payment amount is good. I just got a raise at work and it's covered. It's fine. I'd be able to make the payments on that loan. There were two trailers I was looking at on Facebook Marketplace. One of them was like quite a bit more, about a quarter more again than what I was allowed to borrow. And the other one was exactly at the price that they had told me that I was allowed to borrow. It just happened to be exactly the amount, which meant that I was going to have to lay out some money, tax and transfer fees and stuff like that when I bought it. But anyway, it just was assigned to me, and it just fell together. Like, that I called, and I go out to see the place, and I see the bunkie. Like, I just fell in love with the bunkie, and I really liked the trailer, and I fell in love with the beach and with the little yard. And it just came together really quick that all of a sudden I owned this place. And I did, like, go back and forth a little bit. I have money karma, or like lack of money karma. And I guess maybe debt trauma. Like, anyway, I just have money stuff that I've been working through, but I've been working through it. I've been working hard at clearing my karma. Karma being the definition from Cindy's Angels, which is that karma is not punishment and reward. It's things that you signed up to experience when you came here. That maybe you didn't finish experiencing in a past life, and now you need to finish experiencing them. And the goal is to experience them and go through them while looking at the light, just while keeping your thoughts and attitude and face turned toward the light, that there's a higher purpose for things, and that there's more going on here, and that sort of thing, instead of getting mired down in it. So karma. So I have money karma that I've been working through. I've been told in a reading that I have money karma, and that I'm, getting near the end of it. So there was it was hard for me to go back into debt. Even if it was for this dream camp that I just really wanted a place for my family to be able to go. I wanted to provide that for my girls and I, as my grandson's growing up, and I just wanted to provide this place. But I'm struggling, right? I was like, do I sign the loan papers? Like, I'm going back into debt for, like, I'm maxing out what I can borrow and the whole thing. And I did, besides that, have a couple credit lines that were empty that sat there. So I had like a safety net. But I asked for guidance, and here's what I got. And now you got to take this with a grain of salt, because I am not telling everybody to go run out and get into debt. But what they said was, because I've always asked for, I want to experience like a miraculous manifestation about money, like a lottery win or something, long lost relative leaves me an inheritance, like just where I suddenly get a windfall. And I think Big Bertha said, if you're going to have a miracle where we pay something off, you need to give us the thing to pay off. So that's what I mean. I'm not telling you all to go out and that if you go get into debt, it's going to get paid off. This was my path, my journey. But it resonated. It really, really resonated. And I was already halfway there anyway. So I bought the darn trailer and said, like, okay, here you go, like, do it. And so I didn't realize when I actually bought it, just all the little things that I was buying that I had manifested that came with it, And it has been so cool as those realizations have come to me, and I like make a really big deal of it, right? Like when it dawned on me that the bunkie looked a lot like the bunkies that I used to look at this one family camp, property on this lake that we used to go to, and I realized, like, because the bunkies were this pinky beige and mine is pinky beige, and I thought, like, every time I realize that one of these things is a manifestation, I go over the top with gratitude. Like, I purposely do a really big deal gratitude moment because that's what it feels like. I want to be like, oh, thank you. Oh my God, I can't believe that I got that I've been asking for. A bunkie, a fireplace, a garden, a tiny home. What else? I had talked about owning a kayak, and a kayak came with it, and I haven't been in the kayak. I don't know if I'm ever going to use it, but I had talked about trying a kayak, and a kayak shows up hanging off the deck on the trailer that I just bought. Oh yeah, and then the other thing is that, like, I didn't want what I call a field of trailers, like the kind of campground that's just trailer, 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 trailer. Like, you're literally sitting beside someone while you're having your campfire and they're right there having their campfire. I did not want that. I wanted like some kind of privacy. I thought what I wanted was like really remote, like off by my own in a property. But again, with my physical limitations, I don't really can't do that anymore because I just need people around to help me and stuff. And I like to socialize now. I like my alone time too, though. And if it was really super remote with a lot of animals around and stuff, like, my girls probably wouldn't come. So this, when I first looked at it, I thought it might be a field of trailers, but the way it turned out, it's perfect. I have a little yard of grass, and it's totally like boxed in that there's nobody just sitting there in their lawn chair beside me on my lawn chair. I've got the back of somebody's trailer is the long side of my lot, and then the road. So like it's just the road of the campground on one side, and I'm on a corner lot, so I have no neighbor on the other side. And my one neighbor that's at the back of the lot, like, it's the back of their lot, so you only see them when they're at their clothesline doing something, and they're really nice, so we like wave and that, but we don't have to interact. There's no requirement of interacting. But there's also this whole community of really nice people. And when I take Lola for a walk, like, I'm chatting with them all, and I can talk. So, I'm chatting with them and getting to know them. And the people who own the park are beautiful. And the guy, they're my age, and the husband, he can fix anything. And he comes if I have something. He knows I'm like a rookie at having a trailer. So I manifested that too. He's like my big brother. Like, he just comes and fixes or helps me with anything that I need. So it turns out that having it in this park is perfect. My guides knew how to put everything together in a way that is just perfect for me, just perfect. And as I've been realizing that it's all little, there's more. Like, I'll put notes at the end of this if I think of anything else, but there's just all these things that have come together. Oh, gazebo. Oh yeah, sorry, patio furniture. So for my balcony at home at my apartment, I wanted some patio furniture to put on the balcony, but I'm a little bit frugal sometimes. And I didn't want to lay out like these cushions to get really comfortable cushions. It's expensive. I would go on like the Canadian Tire app and look at patio furniture and dream about what I might have out on my balcony. Well, don't you know? But I never got around to buying it. Don't you know that the trailer, the camp came with, so there's this great big deck. And at one end, there's this really nice patio furniture that's like a kitchen table and chairs. And at the other end, there's this whole patio furniture, like a sectional couch set with a table and two more chairs under a steel gazebo. That, like, because the cloth gazebos, you got to do a lot of maintenance on them. I can't do maintenance. They take a beating in the wind and the weather here. And you need a steel gazebo, and those are really expensive too. So these are things that I would not be going out to buy, because if I had bought a trailer that didn't have all that stuff, I would be buying more inexpensive patio furniture and then going like, oh, I wish I had bought better patio furniture. So they even knew. I was sitting on the sectional the other day and I was thinking about how nice and comfy the cushions were for my old sore bones. And I went like, oh my God, it's just like the furniture I was looking at on the Canadian Tire app. Oh my God, they got it for me. So like, and it's already there. I didn't have to get somebody with a truck to bring it and stuff. And the steel gazebo too is there. And it's got like little patio lights, all around the edge of the gazebo. And I just love the way it lights up. They took everything from my vortex and put it together better, like in a better way than I could have, and in a more manageable way for me. And I still have my apartment here in town, so I still have kind of like my base here in town, and it's just perfect. So now I'm waiting for the part where they pay it off. But I have no problem making the loan payments. But now, so you want to talk about karma a little bit. Now something has happened. I just did a video for my Patreon channel with a channeling from Big Bertha, and it was about the hills and valleys in life. So obviously what I'm talking about was the hill, like the high, right? Like just all this realization, all this experience I've been having with the camp has been a high. And sure enough, as soon as I posted that video, I went into a valley. Now the video was about how it's getting easier to navigate the valleys and the hills, and getting back up to the hills, because we're becoming wiser, basically spiritually wiser as to what's going on. So, but sure enough, as soon as I posted that, I hit a valley with my trailer. So turns out there's some stuff wrong with it that they didn't tell me about. Just like when you buy a house, they just don't tell you everything. When I sold a house years ago, I didn't tell them everything that was wrong. So maybe it was payback. I don't know. But anyway, this stuff has come to light. And now I got hit with a repair bill. I found a guy, and same thing though, as soon as I asked the couple that owns the trailer park, I asked, who do I get to bring out here? Who can come out here and fix the things that are wrong with the trailer? And they tell me about this guy that travels, he has a service van and he travels and does all the work. And he's been in the business 30 years and he's really good. So Jake comes out, and Jake is super skilled and he fixes everything in my trailer. It's beautiful, and he cleans it all like it looks new. And so it's beautiful, but then I get the bill, and the bill is more than those 2 credit lines that I've got left. Just a little bit more. He's going to give me some time before I have to pay him on part of it and stuff. Like, he's going to work. He liked me. He liked talking to me while he was out there working on it. So he's going to give me a break. He knows a bit about my story. But so I've had to deal with that with a little bit more money karma, right? With the whole thing. But then I remembered what they said about, if you want a miracle money manifestation to pay, you got to give us something to pay off. We're not just going to dump a bag of money in your lap. Like, it's got to be that, then it's going to be. So anyway, I'm going with that's what's going to happen. And also though, my Patreon, I wasn't really necessarily doing my Patreon to make money. I was doing my Patreon because you guys started talking to each other in the comments, and you were already becoming a community. And I asked in a video if anybody would join, if you wanted to create a community that, a smaller community than like YouTube, where you could talk to each other and get to know each other and have spiritually minded friends. And so I did not create Patreon as a money-making vehicle, but like it makes money. People only pay, it's about 10, but it depends where you live. It's $12.22 for one package or $5.55 for the other package per month to join my Patreon. That's Canadian dollars. So that's like $10 or $5 US, etc. So it's not really that much money for those who've joined, and they get a lot out of it and they're really super enjoying it. So I don't feel bad. It's just collecting some money because it takes time to run a Patreon. Well, it turns out that quite a few people, like 70, so it's still a small community, people joined. And so, they're at the different levels, and there's a free level as well. So there's money coming in now from Patreon. And so I can't guarantee it. It's not something that you could, build your life on, because it could end, right? Or I could not have time to do it or whatever, but it's there. And so that came to fruition as well, right? Like I wouldn't have started the Patreon if like Big Bertha runs the Patreon. So, I wouldn't have done that without a lot of prompting from Spirit. And I think that was so that there could be some extra income coming in, because like they may have known, right, that this extra, I don't know, right? But nonetheless, it's going to be okay. I keep telling myself it's going to be okay, but I'm going through some money karma again. Like as soon as he told me the amount, I thought it was going to be like a third of what it was, but he's not cheap hourly rate. And rightly so, because he's really super skilled in an area of expertise that there's not many technicians around here for. So as soon as he said the amount, like the feeling, like my whole, like from my solar plexus right up through my heart and throat, it's like it constricted, right? Like it got really tight, like it was coming together like that, like just fear. And so I knew when I felt that, because it was like, because where I work, like I make good money, and I already had a side gig, and now I've got Patreon and YouTube. So like, it's going to be okay. But I was having a disproportionate reaction, and when you're having a disproportionate reaction that you're clearing something. And so I have just been going with it and breathing through it and practicing gratitude, because I got to keep my eye on the prize, like meaning I love the camp. I love having the camp. My daughters love the camp. My grandson loves the camp. I love the people at the camp. Everything's coming together at the camp. There's no way that all this stuff, from a dish rack to a fire pit to a tiny home to a bunk, all of it, there's no way that it could have all come together like that. Like it's just too much of the things that I've asked for coming together for it not to be, meant to be or whatever. So I'm working through now again, like coming out of the valley of being like, oh, about the repair bill, and just starting to go back up into gratitude and assume that it's going to work out fine. And if it doesn't work out fine, like I could just sell the trailer. I may take a loss or something, but we're not talking about death here. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself, because when you're going through karma, you feel disproportionately afraid, or whatever reaction it is that you're having because of the karma, it's disproportionate. Like you feel like you're going to die. So I've been just trying to work through that and, doing the work. It's what we talk about, just doing the work, which is just breathing through that feeling and self-talk. Like nothing bad is happening. You're okay. It's going to be okay. He's going to give you some time to pay it off. And if it's not okay, like you're just going to be not buying great big luxury things or going on trips, but you don't want to go on trips because you have the camp all summer, so it's fine. It's fine. So I just keep telling myself that and going back to the camp and enjoying it. But I just wanted to share with you, that like, it doesn't necessarily all come together as some big shebang that what you've asked for just drops in your lap, or some big magic lottery win, which I still like. Universe, Big Bertha, like I still would like to experience having a lottery win, but anyway, I digress. It doesn't necessarily come together like that. I'm yawning, which might mean that I'm raising my vibration, you know? It doesn't necessarily come together like that, but it comes together. And when you start realizing it and noticing, maybe you can look around in your life now and you'll notice something that's like, that's like a version of what I asked for, but like kind of a better version for me and my situation right now. And then you can give thanks for it and rejoice, because the more gratitude we put out there, the more we're raising our vibration and bringing more, allowing more stuff toward us. So that's my theory. I'll keep you posted as to whether something happens to make it just really comfortable to pay off this extra debt that came repairing the trailer. But I still think that it's all worth it, because the experience of manifesting this stuff and just of having, and oh, right. So the other thing that I needed was, I'm a camper, right? I've been a camper for lots and lots of years, even like backcountry crown land, lots and lots of provincial park camping, lots of tenting, and just bringing everything with you, right? And you're setting up your tent and you're either sleeping on a mattress on the ground or some kind of cot or whatever, and then you're living out of a cooler. And last year I was actually with Cindy at a park that's pretty close to us. And I had a week booked of camping, and because of my like arthritis and stuff that I have, I couldn't stay. I day tripped. I stayed for 2 nights, and then that was all I could do. Like, camping's work. Like, you need to make a sandwich. It's work, right? Because everything's in the back of your car in bins, like, and it's just a lot of work. And setting up your home and then taking down your home and all of that, and plus sleeping on a cot. So I said to Cindy, like, I'm really sad about it, but I'm not going to be able to camp anymore. This is it. This is going to be my last year camping. I need a solution. Something's got to happen. I need a way to not be sleeping on the ground. And so what I was trying to manifest was a camper van, like not necessarily a Volkswagen type small van, but like a Class C. I don't know if you like, just a really manageable. It's almost like a van with a bed in it and a kitchen in it. But I also wanted to spend more time with my family. And buying the camper van, only I can sleep, Lola and I can sleep in the camper van, maybe my grandson, but my girls can't. I'm not buying a great big motorhome. I don't want to drive that around. And so the camper van first would have been isolating, right? But giving me the trailer that's a stationary trailer with a camp around it, gave me the solution. I can still go out into nature, spend the time, have the fire, be in the bush, all that kind of stuff. But I also am creating an environment where I can interact with my family. So like, they knew what was good for me. Now, when I retire in a few years, a camper van would fit quite nicely as an addition, like also. So I've talked to them about that now. I'm like, well, maybe you're going to give me the camper van when it's time for me to retire, because I can live in the trailer in the summer, and then I can travel around in the winter. In the colder months, I can go down into the States. Lots of people do that in Canada. They're called snowbirds. So it's like flying south in the winter to warmer places, at least for a couple months. And so I thought, oh. And even in Canada, I could go out to like Victoria, that area where it's a lot warmer. My sister-in-law lives in Kamloops, and it's warmer there too. So I thought, well, maybe a camper van will manifest then. And then in the summer, I can park the camper van at the trailer and it'll be another bunkie. So as my girls' families grow, I'll have more like bunkie room for people to stay. So stay tuned and we'll see how that turns out. But they did give me a solution to not being able to sleep in a tent anymore. It's just a beautiful thing the way it's come together. And I just did it by just kept asking and kept hope. And I didn't have hope all the time, but I kept going back to hope. And I just kept visualizing, and it didn't matter if I changed it up sometimes what it was that I was visualizing, but I just kept asking for things and having faith that it was going to come together. And then it just came around from the side door, if you know what I mean. Like it wasn't presented to me on a platter as one package. It just all came together in a weird way. And then now I'm starting to realize and give gratitude for how much of a manifestation it is and how much joy it's adding to my life. It's unbelievable how much fun I'm having there, how much peace I have there. And I have about half of my time that I'm just there alone with Lola, and it's so nice. I'll read a whole book in a weekend, and just swim 50 times in the weekend. And it's awesome. And then other weekends, it's my friends or my family that are there with me, and we just have a lovely time together. And then they leave, and I have some quiet time again. So it's just been amazing addition to my life, and I am so grateful for it. So I wanted to share that with you. I don't know, just because I want to share it with you, but maybe it's like motivating and inspiring for like, keep the faith, just keep visualizing, just keep telling them what you want. It's in your vortex. And at some point, it's gonna come together. If you have the faith to let it come together. Please note the footnote that I'm not telling everybody to go out and borrow a bunch of money expecting that it's gonna come together. But if that's what starts to just fall into place, and like, it just felt right? Like right here, it just felt, and here, it just felt right. So if that happens, go for it. But just keep up the visualizing and the manifestation thinking, because I'm telling you, manifestation works. Let me know in the comments what you think of my story, or what you've manifested, or if you've had any manifestations come around the corner and suddenly you realize that all the little things that you've manifested. Has that ever happened to you? Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.